Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Check it out. I got a report on this. This one is about NBA Youngboy and how he earned $100 million from in his garage while he was on house arrest. You're gonna hear the trials and tribulations of how this young man made $100 million. If this don't inspire you, I don't know what will, man. All right. All right, you know what it is, unique Mecca audio, man. We're going to play with this one. We're going to get right into it, man, because I found this story really amazing, and I want to show inspirational story. This is a young brother that was in the hood, in the streets, into all kinds of mayhem, and he turned his life around. He was on house arrest, tried to find his way. He got lost, got caught up on writing prescriptions to, to get the drugs that they using. Now, just pay attention to this, man. All right, what we doing? We riding.
Last year, while most 24-year-olds were worried about student loans and entry-level jobs, NBA Youngboy made $100 million from his garage while on house arrest. Let that sink in for a minute, fam. $100 million from a garage while legally not allowed to leave his house. How does a kid from North Baton Rouge who dropped out of school in 9th grade become the youngest rapper in history to generate this kind of wealth? And why?
All right, y'all put it in the comments. What do you think he did? And how did he do it in order to generate $100 million in 1 year from in his garage while he was on house arrest?
Why does he release more music than artists with entire teams behind them? It's your boy, and today we're breaking down the most insane work ethic and money-making machine in hip-hop history. Hi, I'm back with another deep dive documentary. Hi, I'm back with another investigation into what happens when raw talent meets unstoppable drive. Today we're diving into the story of Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden, better known as NBA Youngboy, and how he built a $100 million empire before he could legally rent a car. To understand how NBA Youngboy became the youngest rapper to make this kind of money, you got to understand where he came from. We're talking about North Baton Rouge, Louisiana, specifically North 38th Street and Chippewa Street. This ain't just any hood, gang. This is one of the most dangerous areas in one of the most dangerous cities in America. The murder rate in Baton Rouge is consistently among the highest in the nation, and North Baton Rouge is where most of that violence goes down. Born Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden in 1999, Youngboy came into this world already fighting against impossible odds. His father, Jeffrey Tate, wasn't in his life growing up because he had been sentenced to 55 years in prison when Youngboy was just 8 years old. This wasn't...
See, I got life plus 20 when my son was 8 years old. And now he's a medical doctor. It goes to show, even though we screw up our lives, our kids could, they use our mind in a different frame based on what's around them and what they seek. But we ride.
Wasn't some minor charge either. His pops had been convicted of armed robbery and attempted first-degree murder after shooting a store clerk during a robbery at Al's convenience store on North Sherwood Forest. My daddy got 55 years when I was 8, Youngboy would later rap, and that line hits different when you understand the full context. His father wasn't just absent, he was locked away for what was essentially a life sentence, leaving Youngboy to navigate the streets without any male guidance. But the tragedy didn't stop there. Youngboy's uncle on his mother's side, Andy Golden, was also deep in the streets. Andy was known as a prolific robber in Baton Rouge, but his story ended even worse than Youngboy's father.
You see what they just said? They just said, right? Make sure you hit that like button and hit the notification button, please, because they haven't been notifying people about the videos. But they just said that his daddy was a stick-up kid, and his uncle on his mama's side. So that means that both bloodlines, is gangster. And I'm gonna let you rat bastards put in the comment, oh, he's praising stick-up kid, yo, in the hood. Yes, they get praise. All right.
During a robbery attempt, Andy was shot in the head and killed. YoungBoy would later reference this in multiple songs, rapping about how his uncle got shot in the head and died while hitting a lick. Think about this for a second. By the time YoungBoy was 8 years old, his father was serving 55 years and his uncle was dead from street violence. That's the kind of trauma that would break most kids, but for YoungBoy, it became fuel for something bigger. His mother, Shirhonda Galden, was trying to hold everything together, but she couldn't be everywhere at once. So YoungBoy was initially raised by his grandmother, Alice Golden, who became his protector and the most important person in his young life. In a 2023 Billboard interview, YoungBoy called his grandmother his protector, and you could hear the pain in his voice when he talked about losing her. When his grandmother passed away, YoungBoy's world completely fell apart. With his father locked up, his uncle dead, and his grandmother gone, he ended up in a group home.
Now, I want y'all to understand this, right? And put it in the comments, right? I want y'all to understand this, that what we're hearing here is a young man that's creating trauma. His life has been created by trauma. Lost his father, lost his uncle, lost his grandmother, and then you're gonna hear about an accident that he had where he broke his neck. That's 4 traumatic experiences for a young man 8 years old to begin experiencing, to take into adulthood, and for him to turn into the mogul that he has become. All right?
And this is where the story gets really dark, because the group home wasn't some safe haven. It was another dangerous environment where YoungBoy faced physical abuse and bullying. I had to fight for survival as a child, YoungBoy would later explain in interviews. The experience of being targeted and abused in the group home forced him to develop a dark, violent side just to protect himself. This wasn't a choice, it was survival. But here's what makes YoungBoy's story different from other rappers who came up in similar situations. Even as a toddler, he was dealing with serious physical trauma. He broke his neck while wrestling when he was just a little kid, an injury so severe that he had to wear a full neck and head brace while his spine healed. The procedure left him with 3 permanent scars on his head, scars that are visible to this day and serve as a constant reminder of the pain he endured from the very beginning of his life. The streets of North Baton Rouge weren't just dangerous for adults, they were claiming kids too. When YoungBoy was just 10 years old, he lost one of his closest friends to gun violence. David Cobb, known as Lil Dave, was 16 when he was shot in the spine at a memorial picnic that was supposed to honor teens who had lost their lives to gun violence. The irony was devastating. Dave was killed at an event meant to prevent exactly what happened to him. Dave was killed by a chopper, YoungBoy would later rap, and the loss of his friend at such a young age turned his heart cold. In his songs, he talks about how Lil Dave taught him how to smoke, shoot dice, and get money for sneakers.
That's 5 traumatic experiences we're hearing about. We're going to speak about this at the end. Put it in the comments. What do you think about a young man going through 5 traumatic experiences, such as losing his father, losing his uncle to a bullet in the head, losing his grandmother, breaking his spine, and then now losing one of his friends at 10 years old? Somebody explain this to me. You tell me that this is not trauma. Put it in the comments, man. We need to know. All right?
Losing someone who was like a big brother to him when he was just 10 years old planted seeds of darkness that would influence his music for years to come. By the time YoungBoy was in 9th grade, the combination of trauma, loss, and street influence had completely derailed his education. He dropped out of school and started robbing people, following in the footsteps of his father and uncle.
You know, that comes, right? This where that comes from, because we riding. That comes from the hood keeping his father and his uncle's legacy alive, and this is what he's hearing, that his bloodline is, where he come from. Because I know this firsthand, because I have a son that's doing 29 years in Virginia State Prison now for carjacking, right? Because of all the stories he heard about me down there in Virginia, where I caught my case at and he was born. You know, he grew up trying to follow in those footsteps. And when I finally got him on the phone for the first time, because his mother got with another man, the dude was jealous, didn't want, me to call the house. Mom chose the dude over her son and wouldn't allow me to call her right my own son. So decades went by. By the time a decade and a half went by, I get in touch with my son through his godmother, gave him my number, my information, and she told me to call her, and I called, and he was there, and that's how I spoke to my son for the first time since he was like 7, 8 years old. So I know about these traumatic experiences. When I talked to my son said, "I'm doing good, Dad. I'm doing just like you. I'm out here. I'm jacking niggas." I'm selling that hard. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And I'm like, whoa, you know? And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get some money. I'm gonna save some money. I know I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to take care of you. I said, whoa. Said, nah, what you're supposed to be doing is taking care of your mama and yourself. Go get a job, man. Go to school. What are you talking about? And he went into all this, and I'll tell you about that story in a whole nother episode, but bottom line is he wound up catching 29 years, and it broke my heart when I spoke to him, and he telling me, "I'm just like you, Dad." Gunshots.
14 years old, he was arrested for robbery and sent to a youth detention center. But here's where YoungBoy's story takes a different turn than most kids who end up in the system. While he was locked up, he discovered something that would change his life forever: music. During those 6 months in juvenile detention, YoungBoy wrote at least 25 songs with no beats, just using music as a way to express the pain and trauma he had been carrying his whole life. "It helped me know my purpose, helped me know what I want to do," YoungBoy said about his time in detention. "It helped me learn how to express myself." This is crucial to understanding YoungBoy's later success because music wasn't just a career choice for him, it was therapy, survival, and purpose all rolled into one. While other kids his age were worried about homework and dating, YoungBoy was processing generational trauma through lyrics and melodies. When YoungBoy got out of juvenile detention in 2015, he was a different person. He had found his purpose. But he was still just a 16-year-old kid with no money, no connections, and no real plan beyond making music. What he did have was an unbreakable work ethic and a burning desire to never be broke again. His first mixtape, Life Before Fame, dropped in April 2015, and it was raw as hell. This wasn't some polished debut, it was pure emotion from a teenager who had lived through more trauma than most adults. The tape featured tracks like Homicide and Range Rover, and you could hear the pain and anger in every bar. But what set YoungBoy apart from other young rappers wasn't just his story. It was his output. While most artists were dropping one project a year, YoungBoy was releasing mixtapes every few months. Mind of a Menace came out in December 2015, followed by Mind of a Menace 2 in April 2016, then Before I Go in June 2016. This wasn't normal, gang. Most artists take years to develop their sound and build a catalog, but YoungBoy was treating music like a full-time job from day one. The breakthrough came with 38 Baby in September 2016. The title track was named after North 38th Street where he grew up, and it painted a vivid picture of his daily life, drinking lean, smoking with demons, and sending hitters at people who crossed him. The song described the pressure of being a 16-year-old who couldn't go anywhere without being armed and having to watch out for friends who had turned into enemies.
Could you imagine not being able to go anywhere unless you had a pistol on you? Could you imagine living like that? Is that what you want for yourself? If that's what you want, keep doing what you're doing on the street. All right, but I'm telling you, it ain't worth it. Done been there and done that, man. I mean, your neck get to hurt and keep looking over your shoulder. I mean, you don't need that, man. Let's just ride.
But here's what's crazy. YoungBoy was literally recording some of these songs with an AK-47 in the studio. Footage later surfaced showing him in the booth with a fully automatic weapon, which gives you an idea of how dangerous his life was even as his music career was taking off.
Nah, maybe it wasn't that his life was in danger while he did it. He might have did that because he wanted to feel that cold steel while he was in the booth on the microphone, to feel the darkness that it possessed in him. You know, I'm just giving it to you from another point of view. Cause and he wasn't scared of nothing. Yeah, I mean, he had his homies in there with him. It was his studio, so that wasn't the least of the worry. That man had that joint in there because he wanted to feel that cold steel as he rapped about her. All right?
38 Baby music video changed everything. It showed YoungBoy and his crew with serious firepower, and people were shocked to see someone so young living such a dangerous life. The video has over 100 million views today, but more importantly, it caught the attention of established artists who recognized YoungBoy's talent. Kevin Gates, one of Louisiana's biggest rap stars, was so impressed that he not only featured on the 38 Baby mixtape, but got a portrait of YoungBoy tattooed on his leg. Boozy Badass invited him to collaborate on My Little Son, and 21 Savage jumped on a remix of Murder. These weren't just cosigns, they were validations from artists who understood what real street credibility looked like. But while YoungBoy was building his music career, he was also dealing with serious legal issues. The same street life that gave him credibility in his music was creating problems that threatened to derail everything he was building. By 2017, he was facing multiple charges and the possibility of serious prison time. This is where most young artists would have slowed down or tried to clean up their image. But YoungBoy did the opposite. He doubled down on his music output. Even while dealing with legal issues, he was releasing project after project, building a fan base that was more loyal than anything the industry had seen in years. What separates NBA Youngboy from every other rapper in the game isn't just his talent, it's his absolutely insane work ethic. We're talking about an artist who treats music like other people treat breathing. According to DJ Academics, who has inside knowledge of YoungBoy's operation, his daily routine is something that would break most people. He does the show, does about like 2 hours. He shoots a video before the show and after the show. If he's not shooting a video after the show, he's recording music after the show. The show always goes on for him, man. So that work ethic is still there, Academics explain. Think about that for a second. YoungBoy performs a 2-hour show, then shoots a music video, then goes to the studio to record more music. That's not a special occasion. That's his regular routine. While other artists are partying after shows or taking breaks between projects, YoungBoy is creating more content. This work ethic isn't just impressive, it's the foundation of his entire business model. In an era where streaming pays fractions of what physical sales used to generate, YoungBoy figured out that the key to making real money was volume. If one song makes you $10,000, then 100 songs make you $1 million. It's simple math, but most artists don't have the discipline to execute it. The numbers back this up. YoungBoy has released more music in the past 5 years than most artists release in their entire careers. We're talking about dozens of mixtapes, albums, and collaborative projects. His YouTube channel has billions of views and his streaming numbers are consistently among the highest in hip-hop. But the work ethic goes deeper than just recording music. YoungBoy shoots his own videos, manages his own social media, and maintains direct communication with his fan base. He's not just an artist, he's a content creation machine that never stops producing. The house arrest empire. In 2021, YoungBoy's legal troubles caught up to him in a major way. He was arrested on federal charges and eventually placed on house arrest while awaiting trial. For most artists, this would have been career suicide. You can't tour, you can't do shows, you can't even leave your house to shoot music videos. But for YoungBoy, house arrest became the foundation of the most profitable period of his career. According to DJ Academics, who has inside sources close to YoungBoy's operation, 2023 was the year everything changed financially. Allegedly, YoungBoy made last year $100 million, Academics revealed. So if you ask my man OG3, which is a guy when I was there, he was like, yo, we call him 100 mil out of the garage. So basically in 2023, he made $100 million just making videos in his garage. $100 million from a garage while on house arrest. Let that sink in, because this is unprecedented in hip-hop history. No artist has ever generated this kind of revenue while being legally prohibited from leaving their house. But how did he do it? According to Academics' breakdown, the money came from multiple sources. Apparently, he sold part of the catalog that he owned for about like 35 million. He signed another contract worth about 30 to 40 million with Capital. And then he did a few other deals, I won't talk about those. And then there was royalty also from his recordings that he already had. The catalog sale was particularly smart business. YoungBoy had been independent for most of his career, which meant he owned his masters, the rights to his recordings. When streaming numbers and fan loyalty proved his long-term value, he was able to sell a portion of his catalog for massive money while still retaining ownership of future releases. The new deal with Capitol Records was reportedly worth $30 to $40 million. but it wasn't a traditional record deal. YoungBoy maintained significant control over his music and release schedule, which allowed him to continue his high-output strategy while having major label resources behind him. But the most impressive part of the house arrest period wasn't just the money. It was how YoungBoy turned a legal restriction into a creative advantage. Unable to leave his house, he converted his garage into a professional studio and video production facility. He was shooting multiple music videos per week,
Smart.
all from the same location, but making each one look different through creative direction and post-production. The content was connecting with fans on a deeper level because it felt more intimate and personal. Instead of expensive locations and elaborate setups, YoungBoy was giving fans a direct look into his daily life while on house arrest. The authenticity was undeniable, and the output was constant. Understanding YoungBoy's drive to make money requires understanding his family situation. At just 25 years old, YoungBoy has 12 children with multiple women.
Whoa.
For most people, this would be seen as a burden or a mistake, but for YoungBoy, his kids are his primary motivation for everything he does. "I got 12 kids to feed," YoungBoy has said in multiple interviews. And
What do you think about that? A 25-year-old with, 11, 12 kids? Put it in the comments. I want to hear what the women have to say about this. And I definitely want to hear what the brothers got to say. Well, how we going to do that? We're going to put it in the comments. All right? Make sure you put it in the comments. Please, I got to hear what you think about a 25-year-old with 11, 12 kids. I got one of my homies, because we riding, quick ride. I got one of my homies on the Ave. He got like 22 kids. But I was going 26 years. I only got 9. You know, but and that was at 29. I made 9 in 29 years. But we talking about right now, we got a young man, 25 years old with 11 or 12 kids. For me at my age now, looking back at it, you know how I feel about it. If you want me to tell you how I feel about it, let me know and I'll do a short on it or something. But I want to know how you feel about a 25-year-old young man with 11 kids and multiple baby mothers, from the men and the women.
And this isn't just a throwaway line. It's the driving force behind his entire career. When you're responsible for 12 children, plus their mothers, plus extended family members who depend on you, the pressure to generate income is enormous. But it's not just about basic needs like food and shelter. YoungBoy wants to provide his children with opportunities he never had. He wants them to go to good schools, live in safe neighborhoods, and never have to worry about money the way he did growing up. That level of financial responsibility requires the kind of income that most people can't even imagine. The math is simple, but staggering. If each child needs $100,000 per year for living expenses, education, and future planning, that's $1.2 million annually just for his kids. Add in the mothers, extended family, his own lifestyle, taxes, and business expenses, and YoungBoy needs to generate several $1,000,000 per year just to maintain his current situation. This financial pressure explains why YoungBoy's work ethic is so extreme. He can't.
Y'all also put it in the comments, do you think that it's worth it? Do you think that it's worth it to be spending $1.2 million just to take care of the children? Let's put it in the comments, and remember, please subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel at Juanita Mecca Audio and at Real Boss TTTV for your banging music, mixtapes, and Unique Mecca Audio Prison Stories and Mecca Audio TV. Because we doing what? We ride.
Can't afford to take breaks, can't afford to have creative blocks, and can't afford to rely on traditional industry timelines. When you have 12 kids depending on you, every day you're not making money is a day you're falling behind. But the motivation goes deeper than just financial responsibility. YoungBoy grew up without a father, and he's determined not to let his children experience that same abandonment. Despite his legal troubles and the chaos of his personal life, he's actively involved in his children's lives and frequently posts about them on social media. "I'm trying to break the cycle," YoungBoy has said about his approach to fatherhood. Growing up in North Baton Rouge, he saw too many kids without fathers, too many families broken by violence and incarceration. His success isn't just about money. It's about proving that someone from his background can build something lasting for the next generation. What makes YoungBoy's financial success so remarkable isn't just the amount of money he's made, it's how he's made it. While most artists rely on traditional revenue streams like album sales, touring, and endorsements, YoungBoy has created a completely different business model that maximizes every aspect of the modern music industry. The foundation of his success is ownership. Unlike many artists who sign away their rights for upfront money, YoungBoy maintained control of his masters for most of his career. This meant that every stream, every download, and every licensing deal generated revenue directly for him rather than a record label. The streaming strategy is particularly genius. While other artists focus on creating 1 or 2 hit songs per year, YoungBoy floods the market with content. His YouTube channel consistently uploads new videos, his streaming platforms always have fresh music, and his social media never stops providing content. This constant output keeps him relevant in algorithms and ensures that fans always have something new to consume. The direct fan relationship is another crucial element. YoungBoy doesn't rely on radio play or industry gatekeepers to reach his audience. He speaks directly to his fans through social media, responds to their comments, and makes them feel like they're part of his journey. This creates a level of loyalty that translates directly into revenue. The touring model, when he was able to tour, was also revolutionary. According to DJ Academics, YoungBoy was commanding $800,000 to $1 million per show, with some estimates suggesting his entire tour could generate over $50 million in profit. What do you think YoungBoy gets for this entire tour? After paying production, after paying security, venues, what does YoungBoy pocket? $50 million. More academics revealed. These aren't typical numbers for someone YoungBoy's age. Most artists take decades to build the kind of fan base that can support million-dollar show fees. But YoungBoy's constant output and authentic connection with fans allowed him to reach that level in just a few years. Beyond the financial motivations and business strategies, there's something deeper driving YoungBoy's success, a psychological need to prove himself that stems from his traumatic childhood. Growing up without a father, losing his grandmother, and surviving the streets of North Baton Rouge created a mindset where failure isn't an option. I don't like disappointment, YoungBoy has said in interviews. I just don't like to put too much faith in anything. Even being on the other side of it, like I know some people that are probably disappointed, so it's just like, just knowing that, and that's just not a good feeling altogether, so I don't really let myself get let down. This fear of disappointment drives him to work harder than anyone else in the industry. If other artists release 1 album per year, YoungBoy releases 5. If other artists shoot 1 video per month, YoungBoy shoots 1 per week. He's constantly trying to stay ahead of potential failure by outworking everyone around him. The trauma from his childhood also created a sense of urgency that most people don't have. When you've seen friends die young, family members go to prison for life, and opportunities disappear overnight, you understand that success isn't guaranteed and time isn't unlimited. YoungBoy approaches his career like someone who knows that everything could be taken away at any moment. This mindset is both his greatest strength and his biggest weakness. It drives him to achieve incredible success, but it also creates a level of stress and paranoia that affects his personal relationships and mental health. The same drive that made him $100 million also keeps him isolated and constantly looking over his shoulder. YoungBoy's success has fundamentally changed how the music industry operates. His independent approach proved that artists don't need major label support to reach the highest levels of commercial success. His streaming numbers consistently compete with or exceed those of artists with massive industry backing, and his fan base is more engaged than most mainstream acts. The work ethic he's demonstrated has also raised the bar for other artists. In an era where many rappers release music sporadically and take long breaks between projects, YoungBoy's constant output makes other artists look lazy by comparison. Fans now expect more frequent releases, more direct communication, and more authentic content from their favorite artists. The financial model he's created has also influenced how other young artists approach their careers. The importance of owning your masters, maintaining direct fan relationships, and maximizing streaming revenue has become standard advice for new artists entering the industry. But perhaps most importantly, YoungBoy's success has proven that authenticity still matters in hip-hop. In an era of manufactured personas and industry plants, YoungBoy's genuine connection to his background and his unfiltered approach to sharing his life has resonated with millions of fans who are hungry for something real. As of 2025, NBA Youngboy's legal situation has improved significantly. He's no longer on house arrest and has been able to return to touring and normal promotional activities. But the period of forced isolation actually strengthened his position in the industry by proving that his success wasn't dependent on traditional promotional methods. The $100 million he generated during house arrest has given him financial security that most artists never achieve. He's invested in real estate, business ventures, and his children's futures, creating multiple income streams that don't depend solely on music. But the drive hasn't diminished. If anything, his success has motivated him to reach even higher levels. He's talked about wanting to become the first rapper to generate $1 billion in career earnings, and given his track record, that goal doesn't seem unrealistic. The family motivation remains the primary driving force. With 12 children and more potentially on the way, YoungBoy's financial responsibilities will only continue to grow. But he's built a business model that can scale with his needs, and his fan base continues to expand globally. YoungBoy's story represents something larger than just individual success. He's proven that someone from the most disadvantaged background can build generational wealth through talent, work ethic, and smart business decisions. His success challenges stereotypes about young black men from impoverished backgrounds and shows what's possible when raw talent meets unstoppable determination. The fact that he achieved this level of success while dealing with serious legal issues also highlights the resilience required to succeed in hip-hop. Many artists have used legal troubles as excuses for career stagnation, but YoungBoy turned his restrictions into advantages and found ways to thrive despite the obstacles. His approach to fatherhood, while unconventional, also represents a different model for young men in hip-hop. Instead of abandoning his children or treating them as burdens, YoungBoy has made them the center of his motivation and publicly embraced his role as a provider and protector. The most important lesson from YoungBoy's story is about the power of consistency and authenticity. While other artists chase trends or try to manufacture viral moments, YoungBoy has built his success on consistently delivering authentic content that connects with his audience. The work ethic he's demonstrated is also a lesson for anyone trying to achieve success in any field. The willingness to outwork everyone around you, to treat your craft like a full-time job, and to never be satisfied with current achievements is what separates extraordinary success from ordinary results. His business acumen, particularly around ownership and direct fan relationships, provides a blueprint for other artists who want to maximize their earning potential. The traditional music industry model is designed to benefit labels and intermediaries, but YoungBoy proved that artists can capture more value by maintaining control and building direct connections with fans. Perhaps most importantly, his story shows that your background doesn't have to determine your future. Growing up in North Baton Rouge with a father in prison and surrounded by violence, YoungBoy had every excuse to fail. Instead, he used those experiences as fuel for unprecedented success. The story of NBA Youngboy is ultimately about transformation, how someone can take the worst possible circumstances and turn them into the foundation for extraordinary success.
Do you know someone that fit that category, that could take the worst circumstances and turn it into success? Put it in the comments. Let's hear about it.
Journey from a traumatized kid in North Baton Rouge to the youngest rapper to make $100 million represents more than just financial achievement. It's proof that talent, work ethic, and authenticity can overcome any obstacle. The $100 million he made during house arrest isn't just a number. It's a statement about what's possible when you refuse to let circumstances define your limitations. While other artists were complaining about COVID restrictions and industry changes, YoungBoy was adapting, innovating, and building an empire from his garage. His motivation, providing for 12 children and breaking generational cycles of poverty and abandonment, gives his success a deeper meaning than just personal wealth. He's not just building a career, he's building a legacy that will impact his family for generations. The work ethic he's demonstrated, recording music, shooting videos, and connecting with fans at a pace that would exhaust most people, has redefined what it means to be a professional artist in the modern era. He's shown that success isn't about waiting for opportunities. It's about creating them through relentless effort and consistent output. As YoungBoy continues to evolve as an artist and businessman, his story serves as inspiration for anyone who has been counted out, written off, or told that their dreams are unrealistic. He's living proof that with enough determination, talent, and smart decision-making, it's possible to achieve things that seem impossible. The kid from North 38th Street who started writing songs in juvenile detention has become one of the most successful artists of his generation. But more than that, he's become a symbol of what's possible when you refuse to accept limitations and commit to outworking everyone around you. NBA Youngboy's story is still being written, but the chapters we've seen so far prove that he's not just a rapper. He's a force of nature who has fundamentally changed what success looks like in hip-hop. And at just 25 years old, with 12 kids to motivate him and an unbreakable work ethic driving him forward, his biggest achievements may still be ahead of him. The youngest rapper to make $100 million isn't slowing down. He's just getting started. And that should
tell you a lot. I just wanted to share this video with you because I think this says a lot, that it don't matter our circumstances, we don't have an excuse to fail. We fail because we choose to fail. We have bad choices, bad stigma, bad everything around us, but it's up to us what we gravitate to. If we gravitate towards the negative, that's what we're going to get in return. Gravitate towards the positive, that's what you get in return. Gravitate towards putting out strong work ethics to do whatever it is that you choose to do in life legally. That's how you win. Make sure you subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel, Juanita Mecca Audio, Real Boss TTTV for your banging mixtape. Please go to Real Boss TTTV. We trying to get my brother 1,000 subscribers. Let's get this thing moving. All right.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca Audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend an ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community yours, so we can give back to the.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26. He back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. An Instagram page and a YouTube you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio.